with the demographic of students that we teach, trust is one thing that many of them struggle with just because of all the things that they have been through in their short little lives. So the first thing is to be consistent. Positive Tomorrows is a school that is highly structured, from administration to family support down to the classroom. It's highly structured, and every day pretty much looks the same.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inspiring Teachers, the Honored podcast, where we shine a spotlight on life-changing teachers across the country. I'm Hannah, your podcast host, and our podcast is brought to you by Honored, which is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers nationwide. Every month of the school year at Honored, we select an exceptional educator in the United States to be the recipient of the $5,000 Honored National Teaching Award. To learn more about our organization, you can visit our website at honored.org. We are so excited to have you listening in on another honorary podcast episode. Today, we are joined by Shavonya Coleman, a 3rd grade teacher at Positive Tomorrows in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. She was nominated for this award by the parent of her student, Serenity. To help share the impact of Shavonya's teaching, we are joined today by Serenity and Serenity's mom, Krystle. Positive Tomorrows is a school serving families experiencing homelessness. They offer kids stability and quality education while giving parents the support they need to create a better life. Before we dive into Shavonya's story, we are excited to kick off our honorary episode with our special segment, Teachers Who Inspired, where we invite individuals to share a story about a teacher who had a lasting impact on their lives. Today, we're thrilled to have our guest on our special segment, NiKole Nickerson, the Senior Regional Partnerships Manager at Teach.org, North Carolina. NiKole combines a deep empathy and passion for education with a BA in history and an MED in social studies education and an MPA with an EDD in higher education leadership on the horizon. Her passion for education drives her work, creating impactful programs and initiatives.
So I have two, Miss Brenda Price, she was my 4th grade teacher, and Mr. Patrick Stokes, he was my high school history teacher. And both of those folks really poured into me outside of the classroom. So when I had some really difficult things happening at home, I was not making the best decisions as a student, as some teenagers do. I was certainly one of them. And things that were out of my control, they really poured into me as a human. So they did things that were outside of their job description. And I really admired that because sometimes, students come into the classrooms and they just have the weight of the world on them and they don't know how to articulate what it is that's going on. And they're not old enough, to have to, right? But these two individuals, man, I owe them my career. I owe them so much for really being able to see me, but see me, not maybe my smart mouth or not turning my work in or something like that, but knowing that I really needed a mother and a father figure in those times. So yeah, I owe them my career and honestly owe them the way that I carry myself around students that I come in contact with too, because the schoolwork is great. And yes, it maybe is helpful to know all the presidents, but it's really important to have that support system and a soft place to land.
Throughout the rest of the episode, we'll share Shavonya's story and the incredible impact she has on her students. To start us off, you'll hear from Shavonya, who reflects on what led her to teaching as she transitioned from pursuing a career in the medical field to the education field.
I have very vivid and fond memories of my 2nd grade teacher. Her name was Miss Ward, and that was ages ago. However, what I do remember about her class is that she ran a tight ship. However, there was so much love and nurturing that I felt from her being my teacher. If I were to think of what you would call like a strict teacher, I would think of Miss Ward. However, my most foundational learning came from her classroom. I know how to capitalize sentences and put punctuation at the end and, my multiplication tables. And I feel like those were very foundational in Miss Ward's class because of the type of classroom and the type of nurturing that she gave her students. I did somewhere along the way of my education become interested in the medical field. I did have an opportunity in high school to attend somewhat of like a summer medical program through the University of Oklahoma. We went through all of the medical fields and did somewhat of a internship. That piqued my interest, but there still was something just kind of tugging at me that education was where I wanted to be. When I finally did enroll in the University of Oklahoma, things started to shift. I ended up with a part-time job at a daycare center, and just being around those children and seeing the little light bulbs go off and their points of learning just with things as small as, their alphabet or letter sounds. It just did something within me as a future professional. So I did end up changing my major. Along the lines, I got married, moved to a military town in Georgia where I actually finished my early childhood education degree, and then I received a master's in elementary education with the focus of elementary mathematics. So I have been a public school teacher, a charter school teacher, private school teacher, all the things, as well as being an educator on the parent side. So it's been a journey, but it's one that, 22 years of teaching has been a blessing.
To learn more about Shavonya's impact, we spoke with Krystle, the parent of student Serenity. From their first interaction, Krystle knew that this school year would be different, as she witnessed Shavonya's caring and attentive nature. These qualities became even more evident throughout the beginning of the school year, as Shavonya identified Serenity's needs for speech therapy, something that had been overlooked in her previous school experiences.
From the day one when we went into the school to tour her classroom where she was going to be, who was going to be her teacher, where she's going to sit and all that stuff, she was just literally, she's the sweetest, openest person ever. And she's very attentive. So coming from a school where I had 28 kids in her classroom, so she was overlooked. I literally told her, I think I wrote it in a text actually. I was like, I literally have been telling her other school this for the longest, and they told me, no, it's fine. I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. And literally day 2 of her being in the class, Miss Coleman was like, I think Serenity would benefit from speech therapy. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, where have you been all my life? It just makes you think I wish I was here in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade as well.
At Positive Tomorrows, trust is the foundation for everything. As students enter the classroom with so much uncertainty, Shavonya prioritizes consistency and routine to give them a sense of safety. Working in a classroom of students at varying academic levels and personal experiences, she creates an environment where all students feel safe, seen, and ready to learn.
It is a challenge, I'll have to say, with the demographic of students that we teach. Trust is one thing that many of them struggle with just because of all the things that they have been through in their short little lives. So the first thing is to be consistent. Positive Tomorrows is a school that is highly, highly structured, from administration to family support down to the classroom. It's highly structured. And every day pretty much looks the same. You know what you're going to get, you know where you're going to be, you know who's going to pick you up, you know where you're going to go to breakfast, it's very structured, it's very routine. And so we find that as something that it's very much needed. Also, a lot of times the students that come in are behind quite a bit academically just because they've been unhoused for a while or they've been moving from school to school to school. And so if you can picture a new student coming in, well, they already know this and I don't know that, it does take a lot to get those students to, trust me, we're going to start here. We're going to get to step 1, step 2, step 3, and you're going to be eventually where you need to be. And so not just the academic trust, but, are you going to keep your word? If we say that we're going to go here on this date or we're going to be doing this activity, and I've seen it time and time again, any little veer off of schedule or routine, it does create almost like a moment of panic that, okay, things are changing, things that I'm used to are changing, but eventually those students will begin to put their trust that, okay, maybe things have changed right now, but I know that my teacher loves me. I know that the staff cares for me. I know that I am safe and that I have purpose here. And so even if things do become out of the routine, they know that they can trust us.
Shavonya's foundation of trust extends beyond the students, as she also helps parents rebuild their relationship with school after previous negative experiences. With a full team of staff beside her, from family support specialists to the administration to classroom assistants to counselors, she works toward creating the best academic experience for both the parents and students.
Especially if you are a student that has ever moved from one school to another, there's pros and cons, and I think that's a lot of what our students deal with is, having negative experiences at other schools. One good thing about Positive Tomorrows is that our school is very heavily supported. So, yes, I have my strategies of how I can help turn that experience around, but we have a family support team, we have a counseling team, we have awesome administration, we have some of the best classroom assistants that I've ever worked with. So it's very much a team effort. A lot of times the negative experiences from prior schools, it filters over with the parent because as a parent, you're the one that has to hear about that experience from your child. You may have had to be the one to go to the school and deal with that negative experience. I like to keep a good communication open with our parents to let them know that even if something comes up, we're on the same team. Sometimes we may agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, the end goal is to make sure that the parent and their child has a wonderful school and academic experience. So I think just letting the parent know and the student know that, hey, we have the same goal, we have the same end in mind. And so if they've had those negative experiences, not every experience is going to be the same. Positive Tomorrows is such a wonderful school. And it's funny to think about it because some of those negative experiences I've experienced at previous schools myself on the teacher side. So I get it, but I'm able to learn from those experiences and say, okay, this is how it happened here. I hear you, I see you, and let's work through it together. And so even if I'm not able to provide the solution, I have a team of coworkers that'll help me get to that end goal.
For Krystle, Shavonya's support has been transformative as Serenity has found a teacher who understands how she learns. She is eager to wake up every morning and go to class, excited about what she will learn with the support of such a caring teacher.
When she was at her old school, I was thinking about keeping her back because I felt like she wasn't grasping what the teacher was teaching. It was literally my 2nd grader said it. She said, I need a teacher who can teach me how I learn. And she said, Miss Coleman teaches her how she learns. That's just a big thing for me. She used to dread going to school. Like she wanted to miss. Now, if I'm late, it's a problem. I'm glad that she has her because I know I fell through the cracks, you know what I mean, when it comes to schooling. And I'm glad that she has a mom who is involved. And then when you have a teacher that's involved, you can't go wrong. Like it's home and school. So we're on the same plan. She knows all her multiplication tables. That's insane to me. The first day she panicked, had a meltdown. Day 2, she knows them all. She's like a sponge, literally a sponge, seriously. That's why I nominated her. She just makes it be like, okay, are good teachers still there that really are there because they care. No, she genuinely cares. Like you could tell.
As a trauma-informed educator, Shavonya creates an environment of consistency and stability for students whose lives feel unpredictable outside of school. With a strong school community, students are given a foundation for personal and academic growth that affirms they are supported and loved. This foundation allows students to find excitement about learning and a pathway to success.
One thing that our school, just, having that demographic of unhoused families, they make sure that we're very much trauma informed. The training that we go through deals heavily with that. A lot of students suffer from anxiety, being unsure. And so it's something for a student to go home at the end of the day and they're not sure if that's going to be their home for the day. A lot of our students surf between couches, of a parent's friend or an aunt or, an old coworker, or they're at the shelter. They have so much to be unsure about. And so if we can create that safe space that you are supported, you're loved, you are well taken care of while you're here. And what I do love is that we have that family support component of our school that in the event they do step off the bus and their whole life has changed, okay, that's not the end of your journey with Positive Tomorrows. I truly could not do what I do in the classroom if that is weighing so heavily on our students. I mean, if you can imagine getting on the bus, you don't know if you're going to come home or to where you were dropped off and things are going to be the same. You can't learn. You don't want to read. You don't want to learn your multiplication. You want to put your head down and worry and be stressed and hope that by the end of the day that your life can continue as it was. So those are a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. Academically, sometimes when they come, they're so low, you're not quite sure, okay, is this a cognitive thing? Is it a learning issue? But a lot of times they have just not been in school consistently and they're like sponges. The growth, oh my goodness, the growth is astronomical. And a lot of times it's just because they don't have that stability. They have other things to worry about, which is valid, it's fair, And so when you can get them in a state of stability to where, okay, I'm calm enough, I'm safe enough to where I can learn. And it's just, they make the statement all the time, Miss Coleman, can you give us some worksheets? Are we going to do worksheets today? And I think once they are in that safe space to where they know they can catch up, they can achieve, they can get the certificates, they can get the awards. It's like, it's just their driving force. So I live for that. I absolutely love that. And it's been so rewarding so far.
In talking with Serenity, she shares her favorite parts of Shavonya's classroom. From technology-driven educational games to brain breaks, Serenity feels excited about learning. She also reflects on how she feels supported by Shavonya, as she plays an active role in connecting and engaging with her students.
Well, she lets us get on our computers and play games. How did you fight monsters to level up? And it's math questions, and on bottle it's the same thing, just like mini monsters, and you get to actually decorate your character. I like how she does brain breaks with us, because my other teacher, she would just put on brain breaks and watch us do it, but she actually moves and does it with us. It makes it feel more like it's real, like I'm actually in the brain break. We get to dance to music and stuff a lot. I like writing, but like in regular writing, cursive is just not for me. I write like regular writing, and I like making books. Well, once I come up with an idea, I just make a title that suits the book, and then I'll start writing about the book, then show it to Miss Coleman, and she'll read it.
As students enter her classroom, Shavonya finds that many of them face emotional barriers that impact their learning. To support her students, she approaches each day with flexibility, adapting her approach as needed and leaning on the support systems around her. By meeting each student where they are, she helps them cultivate a love for learning that gives them a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Some of the biggest challenges, I did mention the academic part, the emotional issues that some of our students come in with, and sometimes unfortunately they continue their journey at Positive Tomorrows with some of those emotions still, it can be a big barrier. Some of them come in with triggers that you're not quite sure of. And I will say, my first few weeks or months at Positive Tomorrows, I was kind of frustrated within myself because you have these plans and you have these standards that you want to accomplish. And some days we may just do ELA. Some days we might not get to math because it's just so overwhelming. Everything is so overwhelming. And I really do appreciate an admin team that understands that, because as someone that was new to the organization, I'm panicking. I'm like, oh no, we're going to be behind. But okay, so maybe we need to take a nap this afternoon and try again tomorrow. So one thing that I do like is that we have a lot of community support. So resources, like tangible resources, classroom resources, is not something that I've had to worry about at Positive Tomorrows, which makes all of this so much easier. And so the emotional part is one of the bigger issues that is challenging the academics, of course. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we can get through the day with one subject or two subjects or all the subjects, we just take every little bit, every little step as a reward. And like I mentioned earlier, the growth it's so, I love to see when students love to learn. Sometimes you may get a third grader that has absolutely no idea what sound the letter A makes. And, I've encountered that a few times. They don't know letter sounds. They can barely hold a pencil. So we have, the occupational therapists that come in. We have speech therapists that come in. We have Title I pullouts, so it's such a well-oiled machine that can foresee those challenges that we have and can help me as a classroom teacher to tackle those challenges.
Shavonya's individualized, attentive teaching has allowed Krystle to learn more about how to support her daughter. In taking the time to create support structures for Serenity, Shavonya is helping her become more comfortable and confident. Through regular communication, Krystle feels supported as a parent, knowing her daughter's development is a priority at the school.
That Serenity is a little mini perfectionist, which is good and bad at the same time. She beats herself up a lot. So we've been working on with her understanding that it's not the end of the world. I didn't notice it because her teacher's with her pretty much more than me. You know what I mean? So I was just like, oh yeah, I see her at home and we're good to go. But in class, she was having like real life meltdowns, like anxiety. And it come to pass, like she has anxiety and she thinks the worst case scenario. So we're working on that with her. And I don't think if it wasn't for Ms. Coleman that it would have even been noticed or brought up. So Ms. Coleman, like we implemented little things and she touches base with me all the time. Like the text thread that I have is insane. Like, but good. Serenity got hit with the ball today. Oh, she fell down yesterday. Oh, she like it's crazy. It's good though. It's a good crazy.
At Positive Tomorrows, each student's journey starts with a baseline assessment, which allows them to be placed in groups that are personalized to their needs. Beyond the classroom, they have a volunteer mentorship program where students get a weekly one-on-one connection to strengthen their academic progress and sense of belonging.
Well, at the very beginning, and I would say within the first day or two of a new student, we have a Title I team that will test them through NWEA MAPS assessment and the DIBELS assessment. That'll give us kind of like a baseline. And so those students will immediately be placed, whether in Title I or small groups with myself. My classroom assistant will have a small group as well. So right now, it's actually a pretty good balance. I have some students that are scoring off the charts on their MAP scores. I have a group of students that are average, and then I have some that are just pretty low. So the differentiation absolutely is a big piece of our learning environment. We have a lot of computer-based programs that will meet the students where they are as they continue to progress, that they love. And so then we're able to give those students a smaller learning experience while still addressing the same like Oklahoma academic standards, but just on the level that they have. We also have a mentorship program at our school. Every student has their own individual mentor that meets with them once a week. So they are volunteers from our community or from different businesses within the Oklahoma City area. And it's a very committed job that they do because they come, like I said, once a week. And that's something I mentioned earlier about the consistency Positive Tomorrow. So I've had really great experiences with the student mentors because they know the importance of trust and consistency. And so this year we've added kind of like an academic piece to that. Yes, they do games and puzzles and, outside time, but they spend a portion of that time working on a skill or showing off a skill that they've learned. So it's really a school community effort to make sure that those students that their needs are addressed. And so to be able to have all those components, it allows me to do, my job in the classroom when then everyone else is successful.
In wrapping up our conversation, Shavonya reflects on the moments from her teaching career that remind her of the difference she is making. From previous students pursuing careers in education to attending college or even sharing how they remember her teaching, she continues to see just how life-changing her impact is.
The very first time I saw a student that I taught get hired at the school that I taught them at, that was, first of all, it was a shock because no way I've been teaching that long. But I remember very specific things about this class of students, and a couple of them are educators in the same district. And man, also to see some of the students that are in college or in their careers, and they're like, Miss Coleman, I still remember my multiplication songs. I was doing this test and I was singing my sevens. So just for that to be, 2 decades ago, and they're still remembering those things, the same things that I'm teaching my students in my 3rd-grade class today, just kind of brings everything full circle. And I'm very grateful that these strategies still work and they're teaching their students and they're teaching their children how to use these little strategies.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us today to learn more about Shavonya Coleman, our June honoree and recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. To read more about her story, you can visit our website at honored.org or click the link in the episode description. To learn more about the incredible impact of Positive Tomorrows, you can visit their website at positivetomorrows.org. If you have a teacher who you want to recognize and nominate for our teaching award, you can head to honor.org/nominate to recognize a teacher today. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can follow us and leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening in from. Thanks again for listening, and make sure to tune in the fall to hear the incredible story of our September honoree.